We've just spent the last 2 days analyzing the 151 Pokémon models from Pokémon Stadium. Initially, we were focused on answering one simple question. Which Pokémon models are the most complex? But along the way, we discovered so many interesting things that those findings probably deserve a video of their own. So stay tuned for that. For now though, we're sticking with our main question. Which Pokémon models have the highest triangle count? And trust me, some of these results will definitely surprise you. What are triangles? So, before we jump into the results, let me explain what we mean by triangles. In 3D modeling, triangles are the basic building blocks of any model. Think of them as puzzle pieces that, when combined, create the shape of a character or object. The more triangles you have, the more detail the model can show. Why do we want fewer triangles in a 3D model? For games, especially on older hardware like the Nintendo 64, developers had to be super careful with how many triangles they used. Fewer triangles meant better performance, faster gameplay and smoother frame rates. However, fewer triangles also mean less detail, which could make a model look blocky or simplified. So it is all about finding the right balance between making a model look good and keeping the triangle count low. Alright, with that out of our way, let's dive into the results. And remember, some of these blew our minds. At number 10, we have Flareon and Kabutops, both clocking in at 704 triangles. A solid starting point. We quickly realized that many models in Pokémon Stadium seem to cap at around 700 triangles, but a few managed to sneak in a little bit more detail. Surprisingly, at number 9 we've got Vulpix with 705 triangles. And the strange thing is, it has more triangles than Ninetales. This is something we see often in the models. Some first stage evolutions even have over 100 more triangles than their third stage evolutions. You'd probably think that the final evolutions would have a lot more detail, but it seems the developers took extra care to keep the final evolutions at a low triangle count. Speaking of first stage evolutions with a higher triangle count, Charmander comes in at number 8 with 706 triangles, while Charizard only clocks in at 600. This means Charmander actually has more detail in certain areas. Take the tail for example. Charmander's tail consists of 66 triangles, whereas Charizard's tail only uses 22. The developers likely knew Charizard had a more complex design overall, so they made sure to optimize it by avoiding unnecessary triangles wherever possible. And for the fourth time in a row, we have another fire-type Pokémon, Growlithe, with 707 triangles. This follows the same pattern we saw with Charmander and Charizard. Despite being larger and more detailed in appearance, Arcanine has a lower triangle count, showing just how much the developers optimize its design. At number 6 we have a rather unexpected entry, Persian. The developers gave it whiskers with more detail than you'd expect. Just 3 of Persian's whiskers have more triangles than Charizard's tail. And remember, Persian has 6 whiskers. Even more surprising, Persian's tongue has more triangles than Charizard's tail. Coming in at number 5, we've got Mewtwo with 709 triangles. Mewtwo is a fan favorite, so it makes sense that the developers didn't want to reduce the triangle count to make it look as good as possible. Now, at number 4 we have Sandslash with 710 triangles. And this one has a hidden secret. There's actually a hidden model inside Sandslash's body. Strangely, this hidden model is shaped like a ball, likely intended for some kind of special animation. At number 3, with 723, we've got none other than Pikachu. Now, at first, we thought Pikachu's high triangle count was just because it's the franchise mascot, but after a closer look, we found out the real reason. Pikachu actually has a tiny surfboard model hidden inside its feet with 37 triangles. This surfboard appears when Pikachu uses the move Surf, and that extra hidden detail is what pushes its triangle count higher. Coming in at number 2, we have Sandshrew and Magmar, both with 734 triangles. Like Sandslash, Sandshrew has a hidden model inside, a full-on ball, likely meant for animations when it curls up. But despite its presence, we couldn't find any point in the game where Sandshrew actually uses this hidden model. As for Magma, its high triangle count was unexpected. We believe its complex design might have been overlooked when it came to optimizing the model, which explains why it ranks so high. However, that extra detail allows Magma to animate small part of its body with subtle movements, giving it a surprisingly fluid and detailed appearance. And finally, the Pokémon model with the highest triangle count in Pokémon Stadium. It's Tangela. That's right. Tangela comes in with an impressive 812 triangles, more than any other Pokémon. The developers used a clever technique here, creating the illusion of numerous vines by layering textures and adding a few extra 3D vines on top for depth. This approach significantly reduced the triangle count compared to modeling all the vines individually. But even then, they couldn't avoid a high number of triangles. And there you have it. Those are the top 10 Pokémon models with the highest triangle counts in Pokémon Stadium. It's fascinating to see how much detail went into some of these classic models, and there is still so much more we discovered about the way these models were built. If you want to see more of those findings, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching!